welcome to Kryton Live. My name is Michael Kryton, and we are live from the Fuse Logic TV studios. Thank you for joining me. And already we got quite a handful online. I want to say hi to the guys that are in Hollywood, to the guys in Florida, to the guys in the UK. Mike Harding, good friend of mine, thanks for joining. Just had a huge dump of snow in Campbell River. It's really cold up here, and I don't want to hear about what it's happening in Hollywood or Florida, because I'm sure it's really quite nice. This is a great show. For me, this is a dream come true, because I'm with two of my favorite buddies who I've known throughout my entire career, and we are also going to be joined by a fellow out of Florida who's done an incredible thing called the Voiceover Zurek will be joining us in a matter of a few minutes, but let me do the introductions. To my immediate left, the little guy with the big voice is Mr. Keith James, and the James family, a renowned and the royal family of radio.
Distracted. I look at myself on television. I mean,
I know, it's hard when you've never seen yourself, because we're always no one ever sees us. And anyway, the James family is a renowned family in Canada for radio. Keith comes from a long history of radio and continues to be a career voiceover artist, and we'll talk about that. And to his immediate left, someone quite questionable and in fact neurotic, Gord Marriott. These two guys, among the most respected voices in Canada. We're going to be talking about being a voice artist and what it takes to sustain a career as long as we all have. I think between us about 100 years. And then we're going to ask Zurek to join us. We're going to talk about his website and talk about what he's doing. But let me ask that first question: is what does it take to sustain a career as a voice artist over the period of time that you have, and I mean to continue to do so given all the changes in media and everything else? And anyone can go first. And by the way, if you're online, feel free to throw in some comments. Please be kind to dumb animals.
My simple answer is relationships. That's what it's all about, building relationships. You know, I mean, you get new clients from time to time, but it's the people you have relationships with that sustain you, as it were, in terms of regular work, that kind of thing.
Well, and I mean, I can see how that's important. Ultimately, I know the same for for me. The relationships that I have with clients have been very long term, and they don't come. Exactly. They can come and go very easily if not. Gord, what's the secret to your success?
I think for a lot of us now, the springboard that we had from radio, where we learned, how to do what we did, and then had the fortitude to go out on our own and literally freelance without having a job. But we did learn from the people around us, and we were taught by some very good people back in the 60s, 70s, 80s when radio was really in its heyday compared to what it is now.
Yeah, now, I mean, today, it's good to see things like voiceoveruniverse.com. And apparently you know Zurek, because you'll have to chat with him a little bit.
From his talking about radio past, maybe ask him about that. But yeah, that's where I first got to know him. And like many radio people, they had different names when they were on the air, and I believe Zurek did too, but we'll leave that to him, whether he wants to get into that or not.
Let's do a little background on you guys. Evan, if you want to bring up my computer, this is the homepage for Keith James. At soundspark.com, and you got a bunch of websites going on here. You got Keith's Voice,
Well, I got a lot of interests other than voiceover, and that's another thing about sustaining a career, is have other interests. So there is some downtime, but yeah, Keith's Voice is the one that...
Electrified, Birdland...
Birdblind.
Birdblind. That's your adventures of 57 Ford Thunderbird. He travels every year, and what he does is he videotapes the travels that he takes in his 57 Thunderbird. You've been everywhere, all over the U.S. with that thing.
Yeah. There's a few of those travel log videos on that site.
Yeah, you got to check them out. They are hilarious. They're quite fun. Actually, to give you an example, for those of you that are maybe not voice artists out there that are watching, I want to play a sample first of Keith's work, and then we'll hear Gord. So this one I picked to me represents what Keith James has always been about to me. It's a signature sound and signature read, if we could play that.
Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, holds a secret. Be part of an epic adventure as you experience an amazing true story of love, courage, and destiny at the top of the world. The Wildest Dream, Conquest of Everest. The film critics are calling an Everest thrill ride, sheer adventure, astonishing. Now playing in the IMAX Theater at TELUS World of Science Edmonton. Sponsored by Beck Commercial.
Sounds like your career.
There you go.
Astonishing.
Were my lips moving? While
Yeah, I
was
think your lips were
having a
moving. And of course, you do a variety of reads. We've done a lot of comedy together and a lot of rapid-fire stuff.
Yeah.
I want to play a sample now from Gord Marriott. This type of work that he does, you do a host of impressions, a lot of different stuff. This is Gord here. If you want to take a look on the screen very quickly, Evan, on the website from my computer. You can see it in the back there. We used to just give people an idea of some of the work you've done. You've done a lot of stuff with BioWare, a games company, Mass Effect, Jade Empire. Some of you guys might know what these games are, and you've been in a number of movies as a narrator. For example, The Greatest Auto Race on Earth, The Day We Beat the Russians, Never a Winter Night's Hordes of the Underdark is a video game.
Yep.
So you've done a lot of work both in radio, documentary. You've done a lot of work with Wolf Willow Sound. I want to say hi to Ian and our friends over there as well. But let's take a listen to the work of Mr. Gord Marriott.
So, how was your date last night with Miss Kitka?
Not good, Robin, but thanks for asking.
What happened?
Miss Kitka turned out to be nothing more than Catwoman in disguise.
Holy feline floozy!
Yes, it was heartbreaking, Robin, but at least thanks to Dirk's super sale, I was well dressed.
Right.
20 to 80% off menswear, 50% off shoes. The super sale at Dirk's on now.
But how did you uncover the fact it was Catwoman?
I got my new tie caught in her fur-lined zipper.
Yes, but how... Oh, never mind.
I always tell people that when you don't really need a party. Just invite Gord, and he's like 12 people in the room.
What do you mean?
It's like multiple personalities nonstop. But when it gets down to the studio, you get pretty dark and dirty in the studio, though. I've seen you work. You're a nitpicker, man.
Yeah.
You will not let. This is the thing. There was actually on Zurek's website. There's a blog article about mediocrity, and the fellow who wrote the article, basically what he's saying is that there's too many people out there that are walking around saying that's good enough. You think that's happening?
Yeah.
Are we becoming mediocre as we're getting older, or what's happening?
Well, I think it's a societal thing. I think a lot of things are becoming more mediocre than the standards that used to exist in a lot of areas of our life. So it's what we'll accept. We've seen the changes. Some people have been born into what I think is the mediocrity, quite frankly. But for us, all of us coming into radio when we did in the late 60s, early 70s, I think when you came up it was late 72, early 73, working with Keith's dad, Keith James Sr., when he was running 630 Ched. That's where we got our start. I remember coming in there in the fall of 72 and working with Len Tucson, I think, and I started the same week. Hi, Len. And it was, you learned from people around you that were the Bob McCords and the Wes Montgomerys and the people that had been on the air for years and were stars of radio and stuff. And you learned your craft from the people around you that were pros.
Yeah.
And
I was certainly blessed being brought up in that atmosphere. So many people to learn from, and I think that's one of the sad things missing from radio today. There's not a whole lot of teachers out there. And you're talking about the mediocrity, and okay, that's good enough, particularly in a radio atmosphere where they have to crank out commercials just one after another. They just don't have time to spend to really perfect it and,
you have companies now that
massage all the little nuances, that are involved.
You have companies now that are buying up 3 and 4 radio stations and then packaging it all into one building. And now instead of having 3 or 4 writers for one station, you've got 3 or 4 writers for 4 stations.
Right.
How good are you going to be? How much time are you going to have when the sales staff is coming in and saying, I need a spot for tomorrow? You're just cranking it out. And you're going to, because they're good writers, you're going to get some good stuff. But overall, the quality of it's not going to be as good because you're literally, as he said, cranking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed, I've been sort of following the trends of things, and in a lot of ways, there's a lot of radio I hear that you can hear it suffering. I think what's unfortunate is, and I've been saying this actually ever since I started in radio, and I have a relationship with the industry. I'm not inside the industry, but to me, there has never been enough investment made in the creative resources that are there, the writers, the voice. I remember you talk about caring and teaching. There's a story about how I met this guy. I ended up getting hired at a radio station called Kissin' FM in Edmonton. one of the top stations here in the market. And I walk in from a small market, now I'm in major market. I walk into the studio. I'm also a producer, so I also, at that point, I was engineering as well as writing and voicing. I walk into the studio. He introduces himself and says, "Hi, welcome to Kissin'. I'm going on vacation," and he left the building. So I want to thank you for that.
Trial by fire.
Yeah,
Okay,
trial by fire was right. But you know what? And that was probably the best way to do it, is to throw yourself into it. But what I tried to do at that station at one point is work with all the announcers in terms of doing little voice seminars. Even though I didn't know everything myself, there were things I tried to pass on, and I tried to work with the writers in the same way.
Well, you were a bit of an actor, too, and bringing that to the whole voiceover realm is really important. But the thing about that station and a few others that we all worked with, back then the production department was what really was a highlight of the radio station in terms of promoting the station and saying, well, here's what we can do for you in terms of creating an image for you. There was, you'd go out and you'd sell the production abilities of a radio station, and now not so much.
Now they're selling airtime as opposed to production.
Yeah.
They're not selling radio anymore, they're selling airtime.
Okay, so I think we bashed the industry well enough. To all our friends in the radio, thank you for joining us. And we'll, just, don't send any malicious tweets or anything. By the way, if you're online, please feel free to chirp in on the chat line. It's just below the screen where you're seeing these visuals. You can just put a nickname in and away you go. Actually, John Taylor says, if you go to Zurek's site, voiceoveruniverse.com, you'll find everything you need. And we're going to talk about that because it's a heck of a resource. I mean, there's all kinds of education, there's information, there's news. Zurek has done an amazing job. We're going to find out how he had developed that, what motivated him. We'll have a chance to chat about some of the issues in the industry and what it takes to be a voice actor, or as I like to refer to them, a voice artist in today's universe. Because I mean, now we're all doing things online as well. Another thing I was going to talk about, but maybe we'll get into it a little bit with Zurek. The question being, with the amount of people that are doing work in their own home, their own workstations, the impact that has on the studios' livelihoods. What's your take on that?
Well, I prefer to work in a lot of the studios like in town here in Edmonton, whether it's at Ian Armstrong and John Blareau run Wolf Willow Sound with Patrick and Mike. I like working at that facility. Obviously, over the years, Keith used to be involved in Homestead Recorders. Barry Allen is still there. Danny Cole. Other Perry Blackman.
Yeah, Perry goes to mine.
The people that are involved that help make us look good. Because we're very confident in the fact that they know what they're doing. We don't have to then focus on worrying about what it sounds like. We just can focus on the performance. And when you can do that as an artist, I think it takes all that worrying about having to send it, process it, edit it, all the rest of that stuff. I personally just don't want to do it, even though I have stuff in my house, and Keith has literally built a studio in my basement.
How come you didn't build me one?
Everybody needs a studio in their basement.
Yeah, even if they don't use
it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I work out of my studio all the time. I do not entertain clients, but I'm blessed at this point where I can almost pick and choose. Clients that are comfortable sending me a script, having me do my thing, and fire it back. Revisions, fine, whatever it takes. But they trust me to do what I do, and that's taken a lot of years to get to that point. But there's so many people now doing it, building a little home studio, wanting to get into the voiceover business. Technology allows anybody to get into just about anything. I mean,
it allows a lot of pretenders, though, too, unfortunately.
That's one thing. But, the studio experience is so important, because if you don't get that, you really don't get a sense of what it is that you're doing. I find it a bit of a vacuum sometimes, just working for my studio. So I like it.
You're self-directing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I have many years of experience and had been directed by so many different people, that I've put all that together. But I do like going out to the professional studios and to be directed by a client, that atmosphere and face-to-face, that's really important.
A question here from Mike. He says, aside from VO actors, do you also look for writers and such, or do the individual clients do the writing? Mike, it's all over the map. You'll have writers that are writing it for the clients. You'll have clients that write it. Usually when the clients write it, that can be kind of a nightmare, depending on their level of expertise, because people don't realize quite often what happens with the inexperienced writer is that they're writing for something that they read as opposed to read out loud, spoken word. There's a different approach that one takes in writing for live, but the source will be everywhere, and certainly there are writer sites. A lot of people, I do a lot of writing in various media as well. What I want to do is we're going to take a short break because we're going to bring Zurek, who I'm so proud to have on the show, the founder of VoiceOverUniverse.com. Evan, is he standing by?
I'm going to give him a call.
Okay, we're going to give him a call. I want to just play this clip that a friend of mine, Sandy, sent to me. Hope she's watching. Hi, Sandy. Thanks for this clip. It's a great little comedic voiceover piece done by a bunch of UK announcers to some very interesting shots around animals. Enjoy this, and we'll be back with Zurek when we come back. Thanks for staying with us.
Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime!
What are you doing?
Having a game of nighttime, daytime. You want to play?
I don't know why, but I don't seem to have a lot of luck with women. I mean, I'm kind, I'm caring, No, it's a mystery, that.
Alan! 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 Al! Alan!
She's all neck and legs. Look at her.
Oh, I am looking at her.
Stop looking at her.
You just told me to look at her.
Ow!
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 Ow! That's right in my throat, that. John, I don't think we're allowed to wee here.
It's fine. Just keep a lookout.
What was that?
That was me zip.
Whoa! Where did all these come from? You know me, lads. I can't wee with an audience.
Alan! 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 Alan!
I'm Wolverine! I'm Sabretooth! Wolverine! Sabretooth! Wolverine! Sabretooth! Wolverine! Sabretooth! You can't get me on Wolverine! I'm Sabretooth!
Pack it in. You know I'm working nights.
Cheer up, Trev. I'm all right, Bernie. Here, gag for you. This fella and a giraffe walk into a bar. Giraffe goes to sleep on the floor. Barman says, "Oi, what's that lying there?" Fella says, "It's not lying, it's a giraffe."
Giraffe! You crack me up, Trev.
You just like to open wide, sir.
Okay.
You going anywhere nice on your holidays?
I think...
Yeah, don't try and talk when my hands are in your mouth, sir. My wife and I are thinking of going abroad this year. Dudley. She's got family in the zoo over there. You got kids?
Yeah.
Please don't talk when my hands are in your mouth, sir.
Hi.
Could do with a fill in here, actually, at the back. Is it mainly bananas you eat? I won't tell you again, sir. Please don't try and speak when I'm working inside your mouth. Right, I'm just going to have a cheeky little taste. That's not bad, actually. What's done, just need to smell your breath. Oh, God, that is rank. I think I need to lie down. Oh, God.
Alan! Al! Alan!
Excuse me, mate. I think you're in my stand.
Can't you just stand somewhere else, mate?
No, look, I've reserved this space here. Could you move?
No, I'm not moving. You move.
Are you going to move or not?
No.
Right. That's it.
Whoa, get off.
Just move, will you?
You move.
Oh, just move.
You move.
Oh, move.
You move.
Move.
You move.
Move.
You move.
Move.
You
Move. Move.
No.
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 Move. Sid.
Who's that?
This is your conscience, Sid. What? You've been a very naughty boy, Sid.
I ain't.
Leaving them banana skins on the floor so people slipped on them.
No, I didn't. The bin bag, it ripped.
Bin bags? To dispose of biodegradable banana skins? You
What?
must be punished. No. Gets him every time. Alan! 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 Al! Alan!
Rabbit, bunny, jabber, rabbit, bunny, rabbit, jabber, rabbit, bunny, jabber, rabbit.
Shouldn't have had that 12th coffee. I can't even blink anymore, and I can hear my heartbeat in my ears. I don't get it. Mary had the same as me, and she went to bed hours ago.
Tell me about it. I tried to go to bed, but then I ended up bringing one of those late-night quiz thingies. Name something a woman keeps in her handbag.
What was it? A mouse?
That's what I said. Then I said phone, lipstick, taxi numbers.
What was the answer?
Spatula. They're just making them up now.
Kevin, that's a lovely tribute.
Oh, that's not Alan. Steve, that's Steve.
Steve!
So apparently you starred in most of those roles, eh, Gord?
Yeah, well, I recognize
I noticed a lot of shots that look like you.
Yeah, it's definitely.
In the background.
Are we back now?
We are. Welcome back to Kryton Live. I'm Michael Kryton with my guest, Keith James and Gord Marriott. And now I'd like to welcome from Florida, I believe is where you are, Zurek. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Hey, Zurek.
So actually, Keith, you have a connection with Zurek, and that might lead us into
indirect. It's like Kevin Bacon, 8 Degrees or whatever. Only I knew him through his reputation in his early days in radio, and I kind of missed. There's a chunk missing though from the transformation from what you used to do to Voiceover Universe and Zurek.
Right.
Yeah, why don't you tell us, maybe give us some of your background. Matter of fact, before we do, I wouldn't mind, because you want to obviously hear this man's voice if you haven't already. You've heard it a lot because he's worked with Coca-Cola, Honda, American Airlines. It's a long list. As a matter of fact, if we can show his page, Evan, just to give a quick look, or our audience a quick look at his page on Voiceover Universe. You can hear a lot of his work. There's promos, trailers, narration, radio imaging. You see the list. He's done work with ABC, Fox, CBS, Cartoon Networks, Investigation Discovery. He's the voice of BET, then Top Rank Boxing. Just about anything out there that can be done, he does, and does a lot of character voices and vocal impressions. And let's play the clip from Cuff Me If You Can, which is a new series, and this is Zurek.
Tuesday on an all-new Cuff Me If You Can.
My name is Thomas Lawless. I spent time behind bars, and when I got out, I was going straight. Until one night at a party, I was pushed over the edge. Police were looking for me, but I went on the run.
When he jumped out the window, I could see him running through the parking lot with 8 officers behind him.
Cuff Me If You Can. All-new series Tuesday at 10, only on Investigation Discovery, America's fastest-growing network.
Oh, a seductive voice, to say the least. By the way, we're going to have a movie trailer read-off at the end, and Zurek has agreed to join us, so we're going to do a short movie trailer read-off. So, Zurek, tell us your story from, where you came from and what led you to creating VoiceOverUniverse.com.
Well, I guess I'd have to honestly start with the radio. I mean, I was born Zurek. That's my real first name. Always had the nickname Rick, so Rick is kind of derived from Zurek. And on the radio, I used to call myself Zurek Duran, my first and middle name. And I used to speak so fast. A program director said to me one day, "What's your nickname?" And I said, "Rick." And so, what do you call yourself? Zurek Duran, the party dog, right? And he said, "Give us a second. Let us come up with a name for you." So your nickname is Rick, right? Okay, we'll be back. They come back about an hour later and they go, "Rick Party." So that's a name I stuck with in radio for years. I started out in Chicago at Chicago Boys and Girls Club when I was about 15 or so. Then I worked in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Atlanta, Virginia, Dallas, back home to Chicago finally. Left Chicago again and came back to Chicago again and worked there. Then in Miami, then went to New York City. And after New York City, I said, this is it. But all the while in radio, I started doing radio imaging, which is kind of like promo voice for radio stations. I didn't know too much about voiceover. I did voiceover. I mean, what I knew was, from what I'd learned reading inside the radio station production room, but never had any formal lessons until 2004 when I started studying with Rodney Salisbury, who's the voice of Twix. Need a moment? Chew it over with Twix. That's Rodney. So he was my promo and my trailer coach. And then I took with G. Key Alexander in New York at Voiceover Academy and some other people. And finally, the great Maurice Tobias. And after using the name Rick Party for so long, I said, while studying with Maurice, I said, you know what? I can't really find myself using this name, Rick Party. So I said, I'm going to go back to Zurek. I'm just going to use my real name. And that was it. So, hello, I'm Zurek.
There you go.
Right, that's a great story. I'm glad to hear that because I didn't know what the relationship between Rick Party and Zurek was. I didn't know Zurek was your real name.
Exactly.
Now, what led you to develop the website?
Well, what led me to develop it was the fact that I live in Florida. And, of course, when it comes to voiceover, Florida is not New York City or it's not Los Angeles, which is probably the mecca of entertainment. And, you know, having a family here in Florida, I couldn't be two places at one time. So I said, I know there are a lot of voice actors that probably feel the way I feel, and they want everybody to hear their stuff and see their stuff. So I said, aha, a social network for voice actors. And that led me right there to create a site, you know, for people that would like to share their experiences, teach others, and to really just kind of, you know, share your work and go, hey, look at what I did, you know. And from there, it just spun off into greatness. I mean, Kurt Bike, who does voices, Toad Penny and James Allberger, who are doing voiceacting.com, and they told others. And I reached out to my buddy Joe Cipriano and Rodney Salisbury. And from there, just, you know, they invited people, man, and it just grew. It was incredible. The one great moment was when Joe Cipriano, the voice of CBS and Fox Tonight on The Simpsons, you know, when Joe invited Don LaFontaine, and Don LaFontaine is the god. He was the man when it comes to voiceovers, and Don was a member of Voiceover Universe for about 3 months. And he passed after that. That same year. So it was like, it was incredible.
Yeah, I remember the dedications and stuff that you did on your site. I guess the building of the site, I mean, it's become a lot more than just a place to showcase your work, and certainly you can connect with others. You've really developed quite a comprehensive site that embraces everything from education. And how what kind of response do the seminars and the workshops get from the members on the site? You have like over 5,500 members now, I believe, or is it?
Yeah, exactly. I would say definitely over 500. I mean 5,000 rather. The total count, I don't know, but for 2 years, that ain't bad. I would say, and I would say that Voiceover Universe is a great part of the seminars. I mean, well, there's one seminar I haven't that took place a couple of weeks ago called FavCon, and they kind of go with a small network of their friends, and they did pretty well, and they didn't need the bigger portion of the voice acting community, so we didn't do anything with them, but I'm sure as they grow and they want to do bigger conferences, they will. And the biggest of all is voices, and it's called Voice, and they used us for the last 2 conferences, and it was incredible. I mean, it was really incredible, and Voiceover Universe played a great part, and in having the attendees there from across the world. So, yeah. Let's
maybe open up the discussion and bring Keith and Gord into it, because apparently you do use your voice to talk, don't you?
What?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So, with the fragmentation of media, I mean, imagine a world without sites like voiceoveruniverse.com. But with the fragmentation of media that's occurred today, are voice artists in a better position or in a more challenging position to be able to sustain or build a career? What's your opinion, guys? I'm going to throw it out to whoever wants to. Keith, what do you?
Well, frankly, I'd like to hear Zurek's take on this, because he's amalgamated all this membership of voiceover artists, and a lot of it, correct me if I'm wrong, are people who want to get into the business, and there are a lot of those out there right now because it's technologically very easy to do. It doesn't take a big expense to get into the business. So, a lot of the community is people wanting to get into it, and people that have never been in a recording studio, but as we had talked about earlier, are trying to set up a little place at home so they can sign up to a site and, do some auditions and that kind of thing.
There's a question here from Rick Newcomb online. Interesting, we're chatting about this. Do you see voiceover work growing in tandem with the increase in animated movies? Zurek, what do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you watch the movies right now, you're starting to see more animation. I mean, there's so much. I mean, they've gone from cartoons to 3D animation to what is it called, CGI now. There's so many, and people are just fascinated with something different. So after a while, you get tired of seeing regular voices. So you're going to have to use another voice to make this animation come to life. And already in movies, or television, there's automated dialect replacement, which is called ADR. So you're constantly seeing somebody's voice being replaced or added. I think media will always continue to use voice. No,
a question I have is, do you have I mean, you've got some marquee names that are connected to VoiceOverUniverse.com. Joe Cipriano and well, at one point when he was alive, the master himself, Don LaFontaine. And do you have any stories of anyone who was, say, like yourself, when they were starting to try and move the career forward or get things going, in terms of a member on your site who has achieved some interesting success as a result of working with the resources that they've been able to access on the site? You have a couple of little success stories you can share with us?
Success stories of people that...
They're members on your site who have started to really develop their careers as a result of getting involved with the site.
Yeah, there's a couple guys. There's a guy by the name of Piat who's from Hawaii, and he's a master impressionist. And I found him on YouTube a couple years ago. And that spun into Piat moving on to Los Angeles, making an appearance on the Game Network, doing impressions and comedy clubs around L.A. And now he's got a great agent. I mean, he's doing well in the voiceover game. And also there's a guy by the name of John Bailey. He's out of Memphis, Tennessee. I discovered John on Voiceover Universe. Not Voiceover Universe, but YouTube. And same with John. John was a guy who liked to do impressions, but mostly he was impressed with the movie trailer guys. So I invited him over to Voiceover Universe, and from there, he met more people in the business. And I would probably say, when you meet people, you kind of, I'm not at all responsible for his career, but I believe the Creator aligns us with certain people to, kind of push us to go where we need to go. And I think I did that for John, just doing my job. And now John Bailey is one of the trailer guys, and he's a young guy. He's probably in his early 30s or late 20s. And he's a guy who can do any voice out there. I mean, the greats right now are, of course, Ashton Smith, John Gary, there's Scott Rummel, there's Chris Corley. Those are the big trailer voices, and Ben Patrick Johnson, and there are a few more. But the thing about John Bailey is that he does everyone's voice. So this kid is amazing, and they take him serious because he doesn't approach voiceover as if I'm just a kid trying to be a movie trailer voice guy. I mean, he just has the gift to make the words come alive on the script.
Question that came here, maybe we can help this guy out. He says, can you ask Zurek what he recommends in order to get an agent for an Hispanic voiceover?
That's a good question.
That must be an incredibly growing market, I would think.
I think for one, I definitely look at the markets that have large Spanish, that are populated with more, Spanish there. For example, there's Los Angeles, there's Texas, and Miami, where I am. And I know the William Morris Agency, they mostly take Spanish-speaking talent. There's TAG in Texas, and I'm sure there's quite a few in New York and Los Angeles as well. I mean, those are the biggest markets, so I couldn't really tell you what agencies to go in the bigger markets, but I definitely suggest you get yourself a great demo. Have someone listen to it to make sure it's up to par, and send a CD to the agencies. I mean, they're flooded with MP3s in their mailbox, so they don't want another MP3. I mean, they want to know that you want the job, you want the work, so you're going to get your butt out the house. You're going to drop that CD in the mail and get it to them.
Actually, thanks. It's Armando who asked the question, and he wants to thank you for answering the question, and we appreciate it. Matter of fact, Evan, if you want to pull up my visual off my laptop here, just to show the site once again, because I just want to kind of walk people through it very, very quickly if we can go full screen with that. This is VU. Actually, there was some, I just wanted to share this with you. Zurek, he says, John Taylor says, I'll give Zurek and VU credit for changing my path in a big way. Of course, what I would say to him is, how did that happen? Obviously, that's good. That's good feedback. Here's the site, and as you can see, very well laid out. A chance to connect with other people, information that leads you to seminars. There's blogs of all kinds of topics, which are great. Current topics right now: mouth noise. Do you have mouth noise, guys? Do you suffer from mouth noise? Because I
other
think
than the little
pops and clicks and pops. Yeah, but now with today's technology, being able to, Danny Cole's amazing at removing all that.
Yeah.
An Epidemic, Mediocrity, posted by Terry Daniel. Very good article. Actually, all the articles, anything that's on this site, really is meaningful. It's what I find, Zurek, is that I like how engaged people are with voiceoveruniverse.com. You can see that people are taking it seriously. The site takes itself seriously. There's a lot of interaction. 5,000 is a large number in my terms, not because I live in Canada, but 5,000 voice artists working to advance their careers. That's a lot of people in one category. And the site definitely reflects, I think, a vision that you have, but also the kinds of things that people want. And I want to wish you continued success. I think we could go on for hours, but I guess I want to move on to that. We could, yeah. I just, by the way, Zurek, I want you to know that up here north of the border, this guy right here does an amazing amount of impressions as well. And
oh, wow.
Getting old, but still really just.
I'd like to look at the bright lights, though, and I really like this.
So
that's a young guy. What are you talking about, man?
Sorry, what was that, Zurek?
That's a young guy right there.
That's a young guy right there. There you go. Yeah, he's a young guy.
I'll keep my hat on. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody online to make sure they're listening now, because we're gonna get you to vote on who does the best movie trailer based on
it's a competition
based on a script that I wrote, and I figure that
that's a handicap right there. Then, if you wrote it,
does anybody want to go first specifically?
You do.
I do. Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing as I wrote this, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's.
Good luck.
I'm not a great movie trailer voice, but
no,
I can write them. I just
yes, you can.
I don't know how you guys are going to react to this thing, but anyway. From a Scrawling on a Napkin by Aaron Sorkin comes a tale of a young woman looking for a new network. And it is being called the must-avoid film of the year. Get Out of My Face book, starring Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, and the entire cast of Intervention. The New York Times calls it uncompromising. Roger Ebert says no comment. Get Out of My Face book, in theaters Friday, YouTube Saturday, everywhere else on Netflix.
Ooh.
All right, there we go. Keith, you're up next.
Sure.
We're going to let Zurek the master go last, because, I mean, he's
I am not the master.
Okay.
Do you want to move in really close? Do you need to be closer to the mic?
You want to get romantic with the microphone?
Yeah, this is my take on movie trailer.
Okay.
From a Scrawling Napkin by Aaron Sorkin comes a tale of a young woman looking for a new network, and it's being called the must-avoid film of the year. Get Out of My Facebook, starring Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, and the entire cast of Intervention. The New York Times calls it uncompromising. Roger Ebert says, no comment. Get Out of My Facebook, in theaters Friday, YouTube Saturday, everywhere else on Netflix.
That's just
I saw that little. I think I saw that little
doing a parody of a parody.
I could have seen a little gopher image that we saw in that video working with that one. That's the gopher trailer.
I'd make fun, but
the Canucks will finish it up, and then we'll go to the States with the final read. Mr. Gordon Marriott, you're on, my friend.
Do I get to move in really close to the microphone?
You can do.
I get to hog it?
You can hog.
Is this where I do the plug for
Coke?
Diet Coke?
Smart man.
Diet Coke, the official soft drink of Mike Kryton's basement, which is where we are, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we're not in my basement.
Okay.
From a scrawling on a napkin by Aaron Sorkin comes a tale of a young woman looking for a new network. And it's being called the must-avoid film of the year. Get Out of My Facebook, starring Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, and the entire cast of Intervention. The New York Times calls it uncompromising. Roger Ebert says, no comment. Get Out of My Facebook, in theaters Friday, YouTube Saturday, and everywhere else on Netflix.
I can't wait to see that movie. I can't wait to see that.
Should have been a book.
Yeah, it should have been a T-shirt. I'm scrawling on a T-shirt. Okay, one more. Zurek, you're up, my friend.
Here we go. From a scrawling on a napkin by Aaron Sorkin comes a tale of a young woman looking for a new network. And it's being called the must-avoid film of the year. Get Out of My Facebook, starring Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, and the entire cast of Intervention. The New York Times calls it uncompromising. Roger Ebert says, no comment. Get Out of My Facebook, in theaters Friday, YouTube Saturday, everywhere else on Netflix.
Well,
that's fun. Isn't it?
That was nice.
That was
professional.
Yeah, I really think you got to post that as a feature highlight on the on your website, Zurek. I think we've taught a lot of people
only
today
because he wrote
how to
it,
avoid getting into the industry is what we're teaching them. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll let everybody vote, and we'll announce the. We'll announce the winner at the end of the show, which is going to come up in about 5 or 10 minutes. Walter's letting me go along. I appreciate that.
You're going to vote for yourself again, aren't you?
What's the prize? That's what I want to know.
Well, I was going to send you the napkin that Aaron wrote the scrawl. We have to have a prize.
An empty can of Diet Coke.
An empty can of Diet Coke.
There it is.
The official empty can of Diet Coke on the show that featured Zurek of VoiceOverUniverse.com. So we can't take that. You can't take that Coke can out until we've got a decision as to the way this is going to work.
Now, just a minute. I was going to take this home with me.
Oh, I like this. Rick, here's the question. Here. One last question here. I like this. Why is, from Rick Newcomb, he says, why is the deep voice and downward intonation used almost exclusively for movie trailers? I don't know. It'd have to go back to LaFontaine, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely say from Don LaFontaine and Don Morrow, who was LaFontaine's mentor. Yeah, those guys kind of started it. So, and that was it. But you know what? Those aren't the guys that are, actually leading the movie trailer sound now. Scott Rummel is another guy who doesn't have a voice as deep. And there are a lot of guys that are doing the teenage movies, the fun movies, and they have the higher register. So things are changing.
John Taylor says, because you're whispering in a moviegoer's ear.
Oh, okay.
Nice line, John. That kind of puts the description in perspective. Zurek, I want to really thank you for taking the time in Florida to join us. I know we talked about maybe getting your partner to Skype in. I hope we can revisit each other down the road, and maybe we'll have a rematch on the movie trailer read-off, and we're going to see who wins. Well, we got it. It seems right now it looks like it's between you and Zurek.
Get out of here.
We might all win. Can we cut that can up? I don't know if we can. Anyway, Zurek, I want to thank you, the founder of VoiceOverUniverse.com. Thank you for taking the time from Florida to join us today.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Zurek.
Yep.
Likewise. So pleasure meeting you guys, man.
And
this
I'm
is really
a proud
fun.
member of VoiceOver Universe.
And so
good,
am I.
man. Thank you.
I'll sign up soon.
He's a technology Luddite.
I'm still back in the '80s with technology because I'm very old. So.
That's right.
Yeah, but you know what? Your voice is incredible. I mean, you're right here, right now with that voice, man. I'm just hands down.
Good.
Oh, I see he really liked you.
Well, there you go. Okay. Maybe you should have written a better,
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Enjoy the warm weather.
Thanks. Bye.
That's great.
Great, eh? He's a cool guy.
I like Florida.
You know what it is?
I go to Florida.
It's guys like that, though, that without guys like Zurek,
pay my way.
You just don't get the kind of opportunities, I think, that the website offers, and I think it's important for people to realize that. Like you, I started in radio, and I was You're going to touch this line so hard, I know. I wasn't qualified to start in radio. I just kind of went in there and got the job because the creative director was leaving, and I was an actor. You're right. I was doing theater and that kind of thing as my background. And the station manager said to me, "I know everything about you. I know nothing about you, but I have a job for you." And that's how I got into the industry. It was in a small market radio station, 1,000. It all started.
Yes,
you know, so that's where it came from. I mean, for you. You know, you came from a radio family, but I bet it was even tougher because I know your dad probably didn't, make it simple and easy for you. He probably made you work your butt off.
That is not a simple or easy story to tell, but I like to say a radio guy by birth, voiceover actor by the grace of God.
Well put.
I'm blessed.
Yeah. And speaking of your dad and the mentors of the people that did run tight ships, boy, when you did screw up, you heard about it, and not necessarily always in a nice way either. But you learned. I think we really touched on this earlier. We really had the benefit of learning from people who to them at the time was a craft. It was a business. It was a profession.
It was the entertainment business.
Yes,
something
it was the entertainment.
Lost on radio, unfortunately, it seems, but not to.
But perhaps it'll come back on television.
Look.
Diet Coke.
Somebody voted for me.
Okay.
Rick Newcomb voted for me.
All right.
I win.
Because it's his show.
Because it's the only one on the page right No. I think we're going to have to announce the winner. I'm going to try and figure it out. Maybe, Derek, I don't know if you can check it out and see what account might be.
Follow this whole stream.
By the way,
comments.
we never played. And because
I don't care. I'm keeping this
Because it is my show, I get to play one thing that I've done. Right?
Oh, absolutely. You haven't done that yet?
The reason I want to play it is because it was a great session, and it hasn't been released into the market yet. But I got to do an impression. Now, you're the impressionist, but believe it or not, this one spot, there's this one character I was kind of doing, and he really helped me pull it off in the studio and really walk me through, which, very quickly, how do you develop an impression? Because... I mean, I know it's obviously sounding like someone else, but I mean, you're inside your head when you're doing it. So how do you develop an impression?
Do you know one of the most significant sources for me is watching shows like In the Actors Studio, where you see people come on live, whether it's Michael Caine or it's Al Pacino or it's
Charlie Sheen.
Well, maybe not him so much. What does Charlie Sheen sound like? What does Charlie Sheen sound like? And more to the point, who cares? But when you see people on there just being themselves, I think the essence of getting characters that you maybe borrow from other people is to watch them just be themselves. And if you can actually get the essence of their voice and the way they talk, their breathing patterns, their phraseology and stuff like that, it's easy then, once you've maybe mastered the way they speak, to then be able to do the characters. So if you see Sylvester Stallone on something, right, and he's just talking, right, and he more or less just speaks like this, and all of a sudden he goes into Rocky and starts to sound like that, right? So it's not that difficult, you know what I'm saying? Because once you do that, you start to come back out of the character, and you go back to being Sylvester Stallone, right?
Yeah.
Same with Michael Caine. If you're doing Michael Caine talks in phrases like that, doesn't he? Right?
You've opened up.
So you've opened a can of worms.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you do that, if you see them actually,
you can put a lot of words in between.
Do Keith Richards, come on.
Just Keith Richards. No, but if you do that, if you see people being just themselves, it's not difficult then to find the other ways to do.
In my basement.
That's it. He's in his basement. Diet Coke, the official soft drink in Michael's basement.
And now for some of your animation favorites, how about...
Bugs Bunny?
There you go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Did you want this? You want to keep this?
And in the, I'm going to play this one spot, which you happen to be in, but you're in as the announcer. I actually play... In the 6 spots that we recorded, this is the one I actually do an impression in. It's a series that'll be coming out. I want to thank Scott Held from Sherwood Dodge, who gave me permission to play what has not yet been released. So for your enjoyment, here it is, The Truth in Advertising. Go ahead and play that.
Scott here from Sherwood Dodge. You know, I thought I'd take a break as a spokesperson, so here are the Truth in Advertising auditions.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love truth games. So what am I supposed to do?
Well, just tell the truth.
Oh, I get it. Truth or dare. Kind of like a Madonna thing. Let's see. How about I've been abandoned in a car lot and...
No, never mind.
But I can do this. Just give me some context.
Later, maybe after you nap.
Suddenly I feel tired.
More Sherwood Dodge auditions will continue.
Excuse me. Why don't you tell him I can really do this?
No.
Oh, thanks for nothing.
When we're done. Okay. I didn't actually hear it.
It
was amazing, though.
But
I
remember.
See,
I remember the performance.
If you don't hear your voice, does that mean you're invisible?
On this show, yes.
By the way, it's almost time to wrap it up. I do want to say, it looks like unofficially, at this point in time, wouldn't you know it, guys, the American took it. Zurek won the movie trailer read off the first annual.
Somebody did an unofficial calculation
Derek
from this
in
stream
the
here.
control center did the measurement.
Oh, okay.
I have something I'd like to say.
He won,
he deserves
he
a
won
win.
by one, I think.
I have something I'd like to say.
Well, what?
Well, if you think I'm going to give up this Coke can, you got another thing coming. Official soft drink.
Yeah.
If this is a prize,
I got to write a new line for
anyway.
Before we go, to wrap up, by the way, I want to thank everybody who's joined us online. Great questions, and again, thanks to Zurek at voiceoveruniverse.com. Last comments about the career of voice artist. Any last parting thoughts?
You know, there's so many people out. You know, I'm online a lot. You know, Voiceover Universe and all the other sites. There's a lot out there, and there are a lot of teachers. You know, of varying degrees. A lot I have respect for, but there are a lot of people getting into the business. Technology again has allowed that, and you know, I saw a comment the other day, and somebody, you know, how do I do this? But I thought, what you need to do is go meet, you know, the engineer at your local recording studio to get a real feel for it, because starting in your basement, you're not going to get very far. You know, I mean, you can start there, but you can't stay there. You know, you got to get out there in the real world and see what's going on and see what goes on in the studios and what that's all about, because that is a real test, you know, of your ability, because it's more than just having a good voice. You know, Uncle Ernie's got a good voice. He should get into radio. He should get into voiceover. You know, you hear that kind of thing.
Yeah,
a lot of those recommendations. And, you know, there's a wealth of information online, but you really got to get out there and see what goes on in a recording studio. And, you know, get a tour. I mean, that's the sense of it.
That was poignant. And so articulate all at the same time. You should get into voice work.
I think for people who want to do characters, and going back into the 30s, 40s, 50s, which is a long time to go back, but nevertheless, before there was television, the big screen actors, before the advent of television, the big screen actors did a lot of radio plays, and the only way you could identify those actors was by the sound of their voice. They had very distinctive voices if you go back and listen to people like that. In the 70s, with television, movies, I think a lot of people became a visual act, but a lot of their voices aren't very interesting. Not particularly. They're a look. There's a feel about them. But if you said, what does Kevin Costner sound like? You know, there's certain actors today that if we put you in a room with a blindfold on, you'd get Clint Eastwood probably right away. You'd get Jack Nicholson pretty quick. You'd get certain ones almost right away. But other ones you'd hear and you go, oh God, who is that?
That's my favorite game.
Yeah.
Guess that voice.
Guess that voice.
Watching television.
Well, there are a lot of actors doing commercials and stuff like that, too.
Oh, yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I think for people that want to develop working on characters, find people that are interesting to listen to.
And that's one of your challenges for the day, Clarice. Why don't you find someone who's interesting to listen to?
If you find people who bring you in, whose style makes you want to listen to them, then I think the greatest thing to do is listen to old radio shows and go back and also find character actors in certain movies that are your favorites or not, and reach back and find certain people that you find have an interesting tonality, and just start working it. I find that a lot of times the work that I've done too to get a voice has been when I'm sleeping. Actually.
Oh yeah, and this, you can't let this show pass without this little witticism, and that is, it ain't what you got, but it's how you use it. That's what it comes down to. Right?
Yeah. How big's your dock? Anyway.
You're not going to do a line there, are you?
I want to say, John Taylor says, and obviously John has issues psychologically, but he says Gord is terrific and offers great advice. Thanks, John, for that. And true. I mean, the best part of my life is I've got to spend it a lot with these guys, directing them, writing for them.
You poor man.
Uh,
we've all
acting with
changed
them.
roles
We've all
as well.
changed roles, and here's to the next 30, 100,000 years
Oh, I'm
that
gonna-
we're going to do stuff. And
I'm going to keep doing this. So the rest of you, you might as well give up because
you
I'm
might
not
as well
gonna
because you
quit.
can't do anything else, Gord. Kidding. He's a good writer too. Good writer. Also a good writer. Anyway, that's it. Voice artists here on Fuse Logic
Hey,
TV.
thank you for putting this
Kryton
together, Mike.
Live.
Yes, thanks,
This is
Mikey.
great. And I want to thank everybody who was online. And please continue to send comments to us. You can tweet us at Fuse Logic TV. You can come to our website and check out the show. It will be streaming on demand forever.
Official soft drink of Mike Kryton.
Forever. Forever. Imagine talking like this every day. Hi, honey. I'm home. What's for dinner?
You've had a lot of girlfriends.